Started to make two types of cheeses: blue cheese, Roquefort type, and then a normal hard cheese. Two pots for the two different types of cheeses, and a lot of milk. I have my recipe over there and cultures which I've prepared. Yeah, this one is the blue culture, which had to be in water for a day. Rennet, which is in water here, and then the culture powder, which you put in the milk directly. The pots have been sterilized by putting a bit of water in them with the lid on, and then boiling the water until the steam comes out. So what we're going to do is pour all of this delicious milk into the pot. Now I'm going to make 4 litres of milk will go to the blue cheese, and 10 litres of milk will go to the hard cheese. So, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to fill up some pots with milk. We've got both pots on the stove, full fire on the bottom, full flame, lovely creamy milk. You should stir in the milk while it's heating up to 32 degrees or whatever temperature, and that is simply that it doesn't burn on the bottom or get scalded on the bottom. Oh, 2 different milks have reached their ideal temperature for introducing the culture. Just bring the powder around, and then give it another good stir up. And the same goes for the blue cheese. Now this is not a blue cheese culture that I'm going to introduce here. This is just a normal sort of universal cheese culture. Exactly the same as I've used for the hard cheese. The blue cheese culture will be introduced a little bit later. The next step is to keep them nice and warm and cozy, so that culture which we've just inoculated the milk with or introduced can work, and it works at body temperature. So what I'm going to do is fill my sink here, my basin, up with hot water. I wish I had 2 basins, I don't. I'm going to fill it up with hot water and just basically make an incubation box. So we bring the pots over to the sink. What else one can do, that is put a number of towels over it and blankets. Put it to bed there. Yup, we're back. Half an hour, 30 minutes have passed. Rennet in liquid form. Get some movement into the milk. And the hard cheese, it's simply the rennet, which needs to get well mixed in. There you go. And then I'm going to try and stop all movement in the milk as much as possible. Keep it as still as possible. This means that the rennet will have as much time as possible to coagulate the protein particles. I think that's about it. And so that now has to be kept still and quiet and as warm as possible. In the case of the hard cheese, for another 30 minutes, and then In the case of the blue cheese here, and you can see basically the same process, where I put the rennet in, a little bit less because it's less milk, and the blue cheese culture. And that just gets chucked in there as well, unceremoniously tossed in, mixed well, and again try and stop as much movement as possible. And there you have it. The 2 pots snug, covered up in some cloths to try and keep the temperatures as constant and stable as possible. In about half an hour, for the case of the hard cheese, and 1.5 hours in the case of the blue cheese, we will return, and hopefully that liquid milk has become a coagulated jelly-like mass, which is exactly what the rennet is supposed to do. What we will do here is a test which is called the clean break test. You take a clean finger and put it down into what is now no longer milk, but a solid. You can see I can push my finger on, and it's a jelly-like substance. The milk has become, that was what the rennet did. Anyway, you put your finger down into it, you poke your finger into this mass, like so, it's warm, and lift it up. And I got a clean break, sort of snaps open. So now the job is to cut the curds, and what you do is you take a good long knife. Now it doesn't have to be sharp because this is soft as jelly. So what you have in your kitchen is the longest knife you have, one that will reach down to the base of your pot, all the way down, because you have to cut all the way down. Now for hard cheese you cut the curds quite small, into about 1 centimeter. You start off here, all the way down, and just cut across like that, all the way across. Alright, the last one here. Now that's the one way, but what you're looking for is cubes. So you need to start and turn. You can turn the pot around carefully, and then cut it in the other direction across. What I'm doing here is trying to go the other way, trying to go basically sideways. What I've done there is cut like this.